Hello, Peter from the Saltwater Edge, and this is a VCR tape. We've had this for years and had it enhanced, and actually it's a bunch of flies from Bill Peabody. Bill was one of the original Rhody fly rodders. He's a tremendous fly tyer, and we're certainly fortunate to have this, and we're happy to share it with you. The first fly he's going to do is the Rhody Flatwing. There's 4 or 5 more flies that'll follow. Hope you enjoy.
The Rhody Flatwing is a concept in tying much as the electric deceiver is. This is a very, very sparsely tied fly incorporating a flat saddle in the tail area. This is a method of tying that was first showed to me by Kenny Abrams of Providence, Rhode Island. And I have changed this around a little bit to suit myself. Kenny incorporates quite a few saddle in the tail area, sometimes up to 6. I, in fact, use 1. The first step on tying this fly is to incorporate the tail portion, which will be tied in about 4 steps. The first being a small amount of white bucktail tied as an apron or a skirt. And this can be a very small amount, probably about 4 dozen hair or less. And it's tied on. This is being a 2/0 hook. I'm going to use this particular joint in the vise as a point to tie this in. That'll be just about twice the length of the hook itself. First material at the tail area. It's tied on and flared. And that's about 1 to 1.5 times the length of this hook shank. Second material is my longest white bucktail. Just a few fibers. It's tied onto a point ending just above the post of my vise. And lacquered. The next step is 1 flat saddle hackle tied about at least 3/4 the length of that tail area. Pinch that with my right thumb and kind of shroud the hook. My left hand, thumb and forefinger, and fasten so that that saddle lies flat. If anything, when I tie this on, I want it to be leaning toward me a little bit because the torque caused by wrapping the thread will probably bring that onto the top of the hook. And the 4th step in the tail section is a small amount of flash. And I'd like to use probably 3 pieces of pearlescent Flashaboo. And probably 2 pieces of either gold or copper colored Flashaboo. Okay. These are tied in to extend about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch beyond the white hair in this tail section. And this creates a real flashy movement at the far end of the fly, which represents the tail of the baitfish. Okay. These are tied in, and if the ends are all about the same length, you can clip them back so that they stagger, which is kind of important. I'm going to bring my thread forward to a point about 1/4 of an inch behind the eye of the hook. Lacquer well. Going to add a pearlescent body braid. I'm going to invert this hook and tie what I call a collar, and I'm going to tie this in 2 steps, almost like the lefty deceiver. This incorporates a collar, but the bottom part on the Flatwing is tied very sparse and to about the point of the white bucktail that we put in the tail area first, which is about 1.5 inches or 1 inch beyond the bend of the hook. So I want to gauge the length of that hair. And here again, we're talking about 3 dozen hairs. Not a lot, this is sparse. Okay, captured with a couple of light wraps. Split the point of the hook. Center it up and press down with my thumb, which spreads this over the bottom half of the hook. Okay. Turn this hook back up into the traditional position. The first section of the wing area, it's a modest amount of white bucktail tied along. Hopefully as long as the feather, which this will reach. Again, we crush that down so that it covers the top half of the hook. And pick it out a little. Some lacquer. Next will be yellow bucktail. Spread them to integrate with the white. Then blue, about half as much as the yellow, and this tied in such a way as to integrate with the yellow and the white. And at this point we're going to add some crystal flash. In this case, chartreuse, 4 or 5 strands. Okay, and the final bucktail portion is olive. And this olive should integrate with all the top colors of the wing. And finally, 4 or 5 strands of peacock herl. tied in directly on top. Okay, capture the thread with the back of your fingers, loop it, bring that intersection against the head, go back, splitting the hook and underneath, back splitting the hook and underneath, to the rear, splitting the hook and underneath. Minimum of 3, a maximum of 5 times. Snips off.
Well, I hope you enjoyed Bill Peabody's first video on the Flatwing. Tell us your experience with Flatwings in the comments below. If you have occasion to post a picture, tag us as well. We're on all the socials there. The only thing you can't get at the Saltwater Edge is more time on the water. Thanks for watching.